with 2 of my 3 most popular videos being on political factions. In this video I will be outlining the factions in the radical right, what they believe, from views ranging within the system, and to those who call for its overthrow, which creates great disagreements within the radical right. Some call it the radical right, some the dissident right, some the online right. But that is irrelevant, as they all reference the same thing. But before we begin, I will ask you if you enjoyed this video to subscribe, as this helps the channel. Now, let's begin with the Bapists/Nietzcheans. This is a group who follow Bronze Age pervert and his book Bronze Age Mindset, who promote vitality and virile, whilst having fascistic optics, combining bodybuilding into it as well. They promote a Bronze Age mindset, that is, strength equals beauty and is the basis of goodness, and weakness is ugly. Another writer I would put in here is Yukio Mishima. They are a sub-faction of overall Nietzcheans, who follow the anti-egalitarianism of German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzscheans believe that liberalism is merely Christian morality without God, where the weak are venerated and the strong are punished. In essence, a slave-master morality is their primary thinking. They believe the world has no meaning except the will you give it. They have a strong love for the past, especially ancient Greek city-states, which include literature, architecture, sculptures, etc. Their overall worldview is a revolt against the modern world, which they view with disgust. A Nietzschean on YouTube would be Uberboyo or Richard Spencer, the Thiel Network. Headed by the dawn of the PayPal mafia and Palantir founder Peter Thiel, who is by far the most influential figure in this list, even creating current Vice President J.D. Vance, as Peter Thiel gave Vance his start upon his graduation from law school, hiring him into his venture capital firm where he published his book Hillbilly Elegy, upon which Peter Thiel gave $150 million to start his own firm, getting Trump to endorse him for Senate and getting him selected as VP. This is the Silicon Valley oligarchs who got Trump elected. Thiel, who is directly linked to the CIA and intelligence agencies through Palantir. But why have I mentioned this? Peter Thiel funds many of the movements and influencers you will often see or come into contact with. Passage Press, Sovereign House, Man's World Magazine, NatCon, which is run by Yoram Mazzoni, individuals like Curtis Yarvin and Nick Land, who I will mention later. This is a movement that is not organic. It's astroturfed. It's an artificial ecosystem of political thought to push forward techno-libertarianism and AI accelerationism. This even ties into the recent rise of little tech and their recent support of the Republican Party. Jacob Hellberg, Keith Raboy, Mark Andreessen, David Sachs, even Elon Musk, I will all put under this label as well. These individuals saw a weakened, defeated party, and if you're smart, you don't get anything by backing winners. You get what you want when people are indebted to you, so you breathe life into the weaker party. Or in other words, you give them eye-watering amounts of money. It even promotes parties like the AfD in Germany, Reform in UK, and National Rally in France. Ethno Nationalists. This is probably the most diverse faction due to it varying from country to country and person to person, whether it be Catholic or Protestant, Christian or pagan, pro or anti-American, etc. But the main basis is that a nation's identity is defined by its ethnicity, in stark contrast to civic nationalists, who view nations as ideas. So with a specific focus on the rights of European people to have homelands, with an emphasis on increased foreign demographics. This clashes with the inclusivity of liberalism, and promotes the age-old belief of blood and soil nationalism. This causes them to have focus on differences between groups, whether it be IQ or crime statistics. Some ethno-nationalists would be Jared Taylor, Peter Brimlow, and Keith Woods. America First. America First is centered around its leader, Nicholas J. Fuentes, who was initially a small C conservative libertarian, who came to prominence being courted by the Daily Wire, whilst he had a talk show on RSBN at the age of 18. It was there he began to delve into nationalism, questioning American support for Israel, both militarily and monetarily. It is noted for its originalist interpretation of Trumpism, often harking back to the Trump of 2016, being nationalist and protectionist on economics. The movement itself calls itself the right flank of the GOP, proclaiming Christianity, and specifically traditional Catholicism, as a cure for America's ills. Fuentes has given particular focus on the influence of Jews in American politics, which combined with his edgy humour, has led him to be labelled an anti-Semite, which has led to his subsequent deplatforming. However, this combined with Fuentes' eccentric personality, combined with his loyal followers called the Groypers, has created drama. particularly Fuentes' tweet, "Your body, my choice," going viral, and subsequently leading to his doxing, which has led to an assassination attempt. Since 2024, the America First movement has been critical of Trump, calling out his billionaire backing and his promotion of increased legal immigration in Elon Musk's H1B1 debate. It is probably the largest movement in the fringe right, often being made up of younger audiences. Nick's personality has created schisms where former followers have turned to foes, neo-reactionaries or the Dark Enlightenment. This faction is linked quite closely to the Thiel Network. Neo-reactionaries reject democracy, as they view it as pointless, as there will always be a political elitist class who determine the politics of the nation, that the non-political class will be forced to accept, regardless of its opinion, following the iron law of oligarchy, an Italian elite theory. The ancient Greek idea is that there are essentially three types of government: monos, or rule of one; oligos, rule of few; and demos, rule of the many. Neo-reactionaries reject the rule of the many, believing that there are only two possible forms of government: monarchy and oligarchy. Curtis Yarvin is the most prominent neo-reactionary, who states that Western nations are oligarchies, who select ideas from the cathedral. But ultimately no one is responsible for their failures. Instead, he advocates for a king to take charge and to be held responsible, much like a CEO. They tend to have an amoral, Machiavellian view of politics. Christian Traditionalists. Christian Traditionalists' main goal is a return to traditional Christian values and a rejection of liberal thinking. They often venerate the past, hoping to go back when traditional religious life was the norm. This faction includes traditional Catholics, Orthodox, your trad wives, etc. They view the rapid rise of secularism and the decline of Christianity as the most existential threat to the West. Traditionalists value social ties to institutions like the church as vanguards against excessive individualism. The Infowars crowd. This is the schizo group. They are hyper-populists, who view the main battle as the people versus the elites. Their worldview is the elites are out to get them, so they believe in chemtrails, and that they are being intentionally poisoned, so they promote health cures and red meat diets or carnivore diets, etc. Andrew Tate would be in this faction. It's quite large given the audience it has, and how often I interact with people who express some of their views. Just look at COVID. That has exploded this group's popularity. Attacking the World Economic Forum is often a favourite target of theirs. Preppers would be in this faction. QAnon and that sort of stuff would be in here as well. That's all the major factions I can come up with within the online dissident radical right. If you have any you would label, let me know in the comments. As can be clearly seen, there is a wide array of ideas, some that often clash with one another. It's an umbrella term to refer to a variety of movements, ideas, influencers that are outside the Overton window to the right. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing, as this helps the channel. I've been History with Matt. Thank you very much for watching.